All right, good to see you guys. First thing I wanted to hit before we got started, tonight I thought it was really cool to see burgundy and gold in the crowd, behind our bench, and to see that here in Arizona to show up, and I felt their presence, and so that was really cool. From the team standpoint, I thought a couple things. First, I thought it was an important road trip, a lot of sacrifice to go out to Cincinnati Monday night, way here, be away from their families to do that, and so we wanted to make sure that was worth it. That sacrifice. I thought the guys worked really hard during the week, getting us ready for this game. They got a number of talented players, so I thought the guys coming in late on a Tuesday really put the work in. And then the last piece, I thought tonight an example of complementary football again, why that's so big. First drive down, scoring for us to go answer, a big deal. We had an interception. The defense went, to go a 3-and-out stop. So I thought those were the things that I felt, that complimentary ball that I talk about a lot. And then the last piece, I thought just a quick shout out to the big guys, to have a big rushing performance, with over 200 yards and no sacks. That's a big guys kind of day. And so to see those guys really ramped up and ready, and the running backs, tight ends, the whole group of it all, I thought that was really strong. So all that said, let's get rocking.
Coach, a lot of conversation this week about really starting to establish that defensive identity. How big of a step do you guys think you guys took today?
It was an important one. I had told the defense here, you're closer than you think. And it hadn't been the performances that we wanted going into today. But I didn't think we were as far off. And so I thought, knock one out with Oos to get the recovery. I thought that was big. Felt their pass rush, and the guys, the energy. And so nice thing as a coach on games like this, there's clearly things to improve upon. We had some penalties that we wouldn't have liked. But by and large, I thought, seeing defensively, especially on that stop after the interception, I thought what a great example of, having, one other's back, from the offense after the first score to go down and score, and then defensively after the interception to go do the same. So that was really cool for me to see.
This is obviously not just another game for Cliff based on his past. I imagine you guys might be getting a game ball or something. What was your thoughts on what this means for him, but also his performance as a play caller?
Yeah, I thought Cliff was really, over the last, few weeks, I thought the connection, the game planning to go. And so, yes, he did. And just I've been in that space before and know there's some emotion that goes with that of, playing somewhere where you put so much into it and it doesn't, go the way that you want. So, yeah, he definitely got one today. And there'll be some others as we get back home, but I wasn't going to leave Arizona without presenting one to him. But he did an excellent job all week, Ben, honestly, just staying in it, the game plan, the focus, the effort, and no one would have ever known otherwise, the internal side, and those emotions that are there. But it was really cool to see that after the game.
Coach, the way you closed the first half, starting with the sack on fourth down, getting the field goal, then immediately scoring in the third quarter, just how huge it took a close game to 17.
Yeah, those are the margins, when you get a chance to go get an opportunity. And so for them going on at fourth, getting the stop, then we still had timeouts available at that spot. So no going into it, we're not far away. We can, use the clock and use what we needed to do. And then getting a chance to come out, for the second half, that was a really big turning point in the game.
What was the difference with the pass rush today, I guess specifically with Dorrance Armstrong? Are you starting to see him create a little bit more like he did, obviously, the past couple of years in Dallas?
Well, that's a good question. I really felt their connection, all four, and that's such a big piece of this, much like any good defense where you're connected in a way where there's tackling and two guys have leverage, or it's a stunt that works together into that. So I felt more of that in this game, and that type of communication and connection isn't built overnight, but that was definitely a good sign to see them take those steps today.
And when an offense is kind of humming the way that yours is, how much, I don't want to say pressure, but pressure does that take off a defense to force turnovers and create big plays when you know that at whatever point that the offense gets the ball?
Yeah, we're not there yet in terms of the takeaways. We're going to be, but we're not there yet. I thought we had some chances at some today. We didn't nail all of them, but their offenses, they've got some tough guys to match up with, from receiver and running back and quarterback, and the way they, deploy the guys. So we knew it was going to be a challenge coming in. But at the end of it, we were looking for improvement. Like I said, I told the defense that you're closer than you think. We've missed the mark, through some games on some spots, but I thought third down, especially in the first half, was a really big part of that.
With regards to Jayden, he threw a pick. He had double the incompletions he had last week. I'm getting Clearly he's got to improve. He's got things to work on.
What was honestly like I said it earlier, but like after the interception, I thought what a great illustration of the defense. Going right away to get a stop, and there's so many things for us. After a win like this, we can get better at this and get better at this, and that's what we're going to go chase, Ben. Just the constant improvement. But like I said, big for us on a road trip. To leave here with 2 wins, that was a big deal. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of effort to go into it, and then let's get back home and reset the whole thing and get rolling again.
You guys have talked about his poise a ton. To have the week he just had, get named Player of the Week, the Monday night, all that. And then how did you see him handle that all week and then leading into this game where
Yeah, I had told him earlier I was really proud of him. I knew there were some extra probably stories and things, here back at ASU and going to that. And much like Cliff, you would never have known that, that there was a history here. He and I were in the bubble, at ASU talking about, I had, coached on a team that had practiced here for Super Bowl and, his time here. And I just thought he handled it like a real G, like just stayed steady all the way through in terms of the preparation. He and the quarterbacks and the guys were many late nights, in the room watching tape together. And theirs was, just one office down from mine in the hotel. And all the way through the week, including, into last night, just putting in the extra time, going into it. They just kind of stayed around and were talking through all the stuff to go. So I think that speaks to their preparation.
Coach, how impressed are you with your tight end group today, not just offensively, but also making some key special teams plays?
Yeah, I thought that's what it's all about, that complementary side to things. And as we're going through it, there'll be things for us to improve upon to go. But starts really with Zach, in terms of standards and how we go about things. So, but to see all those guys, rotate through and get rolling, that was big. And I thought Jeremy McNichols, was another one at the running back spot. I'd said on Friday he was going to be one of the captains, and humility and trust are some of the, the things that I spoke about that think of him. And whatever role he has, the dirty work, the blitz pickup, he's always down for it. And I saw that again tonight.
Terry McLaurin obviously has had 2 kind of good weeks in a row. But last week.
Kinda, yes.
Not kinda, definitely. Last week there was Noah Brown and Luke McCaffrey that kind of stepped up and had bigger days today. Olamide Zaccheaus. How difficult is that on a defense dimensionally to try and figure out kind of who's going to be getting those targets after the obvious thing?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of talk about who's to and what is that, and I think we've established that different guys in different roles and how they would come through. But OZ really had some big pickups today. He was going to be out of the backfield some to work like Austin. And so we had to work some of that because Austin's got so many unique things about him as well in the run game and the passing game. So we knew OZ could pick up on some of that as well, maybe not carrying it out of the backfield like Austin, but, out of the backfield. So you saw some of that as well tonight, knowing that he'd take up some of that we were going to miss from Austin.
And then with the O-line, we've seen it kind of incrementally get better week by week by week. What have you seen from the group and kind of has there been anything that's been kind of the linchpin to that improvement?
Boy, that's a good one. I think it's probably been for a while. It was in camp, and we're working through, and we had some injuries, and trying to, still work through that, and we're still, doing some rotating at the tackle spot, and that's not the worst thing, to have guys in depth and going. But I thought Nick and Sam and Tyler inside were really strong all the way through. To make sure when we have our chances and get our runs and completions high like they were today, that gives us a real advantage, because then time of possession shifts and ways that you can go through that. So although it's no huddle, there's a lot of attacking and tempo and way we can change some of that. And it makes it difficult to prepare for, honestly, because there's no huddle and then you're changing tempos and then you huddle and come out with different groups. So the guys have really been putting in the work. It's a lot to go through to get the guys ready for the week. But like I said, for the big guys, that was their kind of day.
Two more. Coach, you went 12 personnel a lot today, at least especially early on in the game. Was that more what you guys saw in your own unit or something that you saw in the Cardinals?
A little bit of both. We knew we'd have to, try to get on the ball some. It's part of what we do. Budda Baker's such a good competitor, man. And so we'd have to find ways to not allow him to, ruin the game. And he's got that kind of ability to him. I just love him as a competitor, where he comes from, the blitzing. And so we'd have to spread out some, even when you're in a bigger group. Sometimes getting, Brian and the guys downhill was a big piece of it too. But at the end of it, just finding the matchups that we can go to, try to create a leverage or an advantage.
Coach, you had cited the third down defense as an area for improvement in the first 3 weeks. They made stops on 5 of the first 6 third downs. What did you see from them today that allowed them to make those stops?
Quite honestly, I thought really more about the execution. And even all the way back to Tampa, we had some chances and we didn't make them. And so that's no excuse because you don't get do-overs, but you got to nail the moments when they're there. And so I felt communication. I felt the way to go through would be good. But I got to give, tip your hat to Joe and to the staff where it's been a hard, few weeks for them. And I told them they were closer than they thought. And so keep digging, keep finding the right spaces. But for that group specifically, I was pleased for them to get some stops on a really talented offense. They can score from a lot of spots on the field, and they've shown that. All right, safe trip back, everybody. We'll see you back.
What do you think? How'd it go?
We won. We won pretty well.
How's it feel to be a part of an offense that's that explosive?
It feels good that we're able to execute the game plan, but we still got room. We still got room to grow from there.
Does that feel kind of normal for you, considering how explosive everything was last year?
I guess you could say so, but for us, we still got room to grow. We're not a finished project at all.
There's room to grow, but Zach Ertz just sitting there. It's kind of incredible. You and Cliff have worked so well together. It seems like you've been working together for 5 or 10 years. Yes, room to grow, but what is that experience like right now?
It's awesome. Me and Cliff just had that communication, that honesty. We're able to go in. Able to go in his office and say, "Hey, I don't like this," and he's here for it. He wants to put us in the best spot.
What was the conversation after that interception
With who?
with anybody?
They didn't really say anything to me. I want that one back, but it's, you're good. Move on to the next play. And the NFL is always about the next play. You can't go back and fix what happened in the past. So nobody really had a conversation with me about that.
You're obviously having a lot of connections with Terry McLaurin. That's one we're all kind of paying attention to, but also some critical hits with Wanda Zacchaeus, Luke McCaffrey, Noah Brown. How's it feel to be a quarterback and have so many options out there?
It's awesome. Those guys do a good job of getting open, knowing the timing and the depth of the routes. So it's awesome working with them.
Sorry to go back to that. What happened on the pick from your perspective?
Shit, threw a pick. Threw it behind Terry. Just something that we haven't talked about. I've seen differently, but I guess you could say kind of got greedy. And in this league, that's going to happen. If you tips and overthrows, they're good players, so they're going to be able to pick the ball off. So it's just how can we bounce back?
Terry talked about that potentially in the future being finding a soft spot in the zone, things like that. Is that something that you think will come, and how long does that take?
Yeah, it's just communication. Stuff we just have to talk about, we continue to talk about.
You talk about all the weapons you had. Austin's out. Jeremy Nichols goes in. From your perspective, when you see a guy take that handoff and take off, what are you seeing? And how cool is it that this guy named Captain gets that touchdown?
Oh, man, it was awesome. He's a very hard worker, a hard runner, downhill guy. It's just awesome to see people be able to go out there and make the most of their opportunities.
Did you think it could be this good this fast for you guys?
I don't know. I didn't have any expectations. It's just how much can we learn and how can we keep growing? And for me personally, how much can I learn and keep growing? How fast can I learn to become a pro and keep going from there?
This last week, starting with Cincinnati, there's been a lot more attention coming your way. Dan Quinn just said you handled this week like a G. How was it for you handling? I know you're getting a lot of attention, but even more this week. And what do you kind of make of Dan's comment there?
He told me that. He for sure told me that. But just in general, coming back to Arizona, obviously, this is where my college career started. So obviously, practicing at ASU, first time being back, things like that. So it could have been a lot of distractions, but you got to put your focus where it's meant to be, and that's football.
Hey, Jayden, after the interception, you said that you got to let it go. How was that a hard lesson for you to ever learn with throwing a pick and just responding to that?
You don't want to throw a pick at all, but as football, things happen. You can have a pick, you're gonna have a turnover, but how can you bounce back and you can limit those and keep moving forward?
Now that it's in the rear view, just being here practicing at Arizona State, like you said, was that weird at all? Was it, kind of good to be at this spot?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. Bittersweet, being back, knowing all the memories I had here with guys that I built relationships with, that are brothers to me. Seeing we all started here, it's kind of weird just being back, because I haven't been back since I left. So that was the weird part. But it was awesome being back here, being back in the desert, seeing a lot of places that I was at before, where I lived and stuff like that.
What do you think this meant for Cliff?
It meant a lot. Obviously, coming back here, being a head coach here for a couple years, now coming back, facing his former team, I know it meant a lot to him.
And Zach Ertz too. Get back.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that some motivation for you guys in the offensive room? Kind
Uh,
of Cliff, Zach, anything?
I would say for me personally, nah. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a little motivation. Like, hey, we want to go out here and play hard for those guys. Obviously, they're homecoming back. But for us, it was like, man, we just got to go out there and execute.
When you talk about like Cliff putting you guys in a good position, what are some examples where you say like, this is just a well-designed play, just gotta get the ball out? Is there anything that jumps out with that?
No, not really. For us, it's just like, man, how can we execute the play call no matter what the play is? If we could get all 11 guys going in the same direction, we have a chance.
Was it weird seeing Tress White punt?
No, not at all. No, I mean, it's football. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have high expectations for us as far as things that we've done in the past, but that don't matter. It's football. It's the NFL. Those guys get paid too.
You're a top in the division, in the division right now. You think you've made a statement to the league that you guys are for real?
I mean, I think that's what for people to determine. For us, is man, how can we get better each and every game? Obviously, it's early in the season, so we'll have to finish the year. But I mean, I can't put anything on it. But I know that teams look at us and say, "Hey, those guys play hard."
After a touch on the road, how ready are you to get back into normal routine?
I mean, I'm happy to go back. It's always good to go back home with a win. And now we're on to the Browns.
Bitch, last one.
On the touchdown run, I think coming out of college, obviously a lot of people knew about your speed and your ability to kind of get to the top end. But the patience to kind of wait for your blocks to get set up there, is that something you've been working on? Is that something the coach has been working with you?
Nah, I mean, that's just how I've been running the ball ever since I was young. So it's nothing I was working on. It's just the vision and how I could see blocks being set up.
Appreciate it, Jay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.